Hi everyone, how you doing today? I want to talk to you a little bit about some research that we did at the end of the year that I always think is my favorite piece of research that we do every year. And it's about how much do wealthy people spend. And the reason that I like to look at this is because I like to say to my husband, see, I'm not spending so much, but my husband will say, yeah, but we're not wealthy, ha ha ha. So anyway, I thought I would go through some of these expenses and what people are spending their money on with you. And you can maybe compare yourself as I go through them, because I just picked some of the big top items that millionaires, so these are people with $1 to $5 million, are spending, how much they spend every year. So first of all, the first category we ask about is boats. Well, 91% of people spend zero on boats. I'm there, that's how much I spend on boats, even though I like to ride on them. The second is automobiles. Now this is kind of complicated because I've always bought my cars. So when I buy a car, you spend a lot of money when you buy it, but then you don't spend any money for a lot of years, and then you spend a lot of money fixing it all the time. So I'm kind of in that fixing category all the time. But anyway, so 25% of people spent zero on their cars. Good for them. That means that they don't have clunkers like I do. 40% of people spent $1 to $5 million. Now, I don't know when you're leasing a car if you potentially fall in that category, if you're in $1 to $5,000, but I would think you're a little higher. 11% of people fall within $5,000 to $9,000. So, you know, to me that makes sense, and I unfortunately probably fall in that category just by the repairs I'm doing on my clunkers. Anyway, very few people spend over $25,000. It was basically 25%. But I have to believe that those are the people who are either have expensive leases or are out buying new cars. So that's how much people are spending on money. So if you're spending a lot of money on your clunker, you know, think about that new car maybe. Anyway, jewelry. Jewelry was the next thing we asked about. 42% of millionaires spent zero on jewelry. I have to say my family is there. However, I would like it very much if my husband would listen to this, and if we could be in the 52% that spend $1 to $5,000 on jewelry. $1 to $5,000 in jewelry. That would be fine with me. So keep that in mind, especially if you have a spouse at home that might be interested in jewelry. Clothing is the next one. This is a really bad category for my family, or at least for me and my daughters. 2% of people spend zero on clothing. 2%. How can you spend zero on clothing? Come on. I promise you I'm not there. But I'm probably with the 88% of people who spend from $1 to $5,000 a year on clothing. Now, that's probably where I fall. But if I look at my household expenditures, I think we might be a little bit more with those 11% of people who spend between $5,000 and $10,000, because I have 3 teenage daughters who really like clothes. So as embarrassed as I am, I think that we probably fall in that group. And for those people who spend more than $10,000 a year on clothes, good for you. Is your last name Kardashian? I mean, come on. Club memberships. So 52% of millionaires pay nothing for club memberships. That's reasonable. But we belong to a health club, and we belong to a little pool club. So we fit with the 45% of people who pay $1,000 to $5,000 annually. And I know there are other people that pay more than that who belong to fancy country clubs, but we're not in that category. Vacations and leisure travel. This is another of those tricky categories, and this is one of the categories that people spend the most on, regardless of their wealth level. Even, you know, as you go under $1 million, people spend a lot of money on vacations, and as you go over $5 million, people spend a lot more on vacations. But only 4% of millionaires spent zero on vacations, so people like to travel. 37% spent $1,000 to $5,000 on vacation. 35% spent $5,000 to $999 on vacations. So that's reasonable. 37% are spending, you know, up to $5,000 on vacation, and another 35% are spending up to $10,000, and 10% are spending more than that. Now, I was thinking about this. I have 6 people in my family. I have to believe that we spend more than $10,000 on vacation almost every time we go someplace that's not grandma's house, you'll say. So because you have 6 people and you're paying for airfares and hotel, I think it's easy to spend more than $10,000. But that's my justification. I'm sticking with it. Okay, entertainment. This is another category I was really surprised about. So 37% of millionaires spend zero on entertainment. And when we say entertainment, we're saying things like baseball games and all those kinds of things. How can you spend zero? What kind of boring person is that? But 58% of people spend $1,000 to $5,000. So I think that's where most people fall, is the $1,000 to $5,000 category. Now the other thing that we asked about was entertainment that was like artistic. So we asked about like the arts, entertainment and the arts. So 15% spent zero, which is interesting, right? Because there was a lot more that spent less on baseball games. So keep that in mind, that was interesting. But 1 to 5%, $1 to $5,000, over 50%, like 68%, spent $1 to $5,000. And I would say my family definitely falls there. Not because my husband loves to go to plays with me, but I know that we went to see Hamilton last year, and I promise we didn't pay over $5,000 for the tickets, although we probably spent pretty close to that. And we also go to other arty things once in a while when I drag him. So $1 to $5,000 is what most people spend in the arts every year. So how did you do when you think about those categories? You know, I hope you kept track, and I hope you found out that you're spending reasonably. Most of our research finds that wealthy people, even people with more than $25 million, are pretty reasonable in what they're actually spending. So I hope that's interesting to you. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.